After I take care of business over at the pub, I'm gonna need you to get out of town with Jimmy Boy and his girlfriend. I can set you up with enough money for a few years, and I have a friend in the Midwest that'll take you all in. She agreed. What are you going to do? What do you think? I took her hand. I want you to know that I never stopped loving you. The real reason I left was that I really felt that it was the only way to keep you and Jimmy safe and away from the life I've lived. I was wrong, and losing both of you will be the biggest regret of my life. I hope one day you can forgive me. She wiped a tear away and hugged me. What I found out later was that before I arrived for dinner, Aiden pulled my son aside and told him that tonight was the night he proved himself worthy of the gang. One job: put a bullet in his father's head. I was a liability, and I had to go. And if Jimmy Boy failed, Aiden would take Tyler out, put a bullet in her head, and bury her in the desert. My son was 17 years old, and the man who'd been his whole world for the past several years was pointing a gun at the girl he loved and calling it loyalty. Aiden and Kaylee greeted me as I walked in. What are you drinking? Anything. Connor patted me down for any weapons and escorted me to a seat directly across from Aiden. Jimmy Boy sat near me as Connor and Dylan stood guard right behind me. Aiden sized me up as Kaylee gave me the drink. I twisted my glass to face the exact angle where I could see the reflection of Connor and Dylan standing behind me. Aiden tapped his glass to get my attention. Has Jimmy Boy told you how we met? No. It's a beautiful story. He was 9 years old and played baseball on my son's team. Aiden glanced over at a picture of Tyler, a cool-looking 9-year-old kid that looked a lot like Jimmy Boy. They used to be best friends. He used to come over to our house, and the two of them would toss the baseball in the backyard for hours. Then our son caught an errant bullet from a drive-by, catching gangsters. 6 months later, I found every Chechen and their family members and removed them from the plan. Why the hell are you telling me this? I just need you to know that there's nothing I won't do to hold on to Jimmy Boy here. He's all we have left that reminds us by left foot. So, I'm going to give you two choices. You can leave town and don't ever contact your family, or you can die a bloody, long, miserable death right here in this park. We will beat and torture you unlike anything you've ever experienced, and we'll force your boy to watch before he stands above you and pulls the trigger and puts you out of your misery. I'll give you 30 seconds to mull it over. I stared straight at him. You're lying, because if I left town, you'd spend every resource imaginable coming after me, and you know it. I'm a dead man either way. Aiden smiled. I admire your intelligence. Before I could say anything else, I went completely blind in my right eye and lost feeling in my left hand. On top of that, my painkillers had completely worn off. Lucky me. On the bright side, at least it wasn't my shooting hand that lost all feeling. All I can say is, you and your entire gang can often die. And when you're all dead and buried, I'll stop by the cemetery every Sunday and piss on all of your graves. I smiled and pointed at Aiden. And I'll save an extra special treat for you. I'll shit all over your grave and sing an Irish lullaby while I do it. Aiden turned red, signaled to Connor with his eyes. Through the reflection of my glass, I saw Connor draw his gun and aim it at the back of my head. With all the energy I had left, I swung my arm around, knocked the gun out of Connor's hand, leaped over a table, and rushed out of the back door. I ran out back towards an area near the dumpster, reached down, and pulled out 2 handguns. I waited by the edge of the dumpster. Connor and Dylan came out, guns firing. A bullet grazed my arm. I blinked a few times and tried to get my bearings with only one of my eyes working. Severe pain was shooting up through my spine at random times. I gritted my teeth, aimed around the corner of the dumpster, and fired back at their position. Connor and Dylan took cover behind the back door to the bar. Both of us traded gunfire back and forth several times. Then I ran out of ammo on both guns, dropped them, rushed around to the other side of the pub, and took out another gun I had hidden under a garbage can. I waited for Connor to come around the edge of the building wall, then blew off his head. Dylan stepped out from behind the edge of the wall, and I took him out with a bullet to the eye. Kaylee came rushing out, shooting a machine gun and screaming like an Irish banshee. She saw me and unloaded on my position. Tons of bullets ricocheted off of the back fence, the dumpster, and the wall. I caught a bullet to the shoulder and another one to the side. I grimaced in pain as blood spilled out of me. I tried to hide behind the dumpster, but bullets kept bouncing off of everything. Then it stopped abruptly. I waited for Kaylee to reload, stepped out, and put a bullet in her neck. She clutched her throat, dropped down in agony as Aiden came running out and saw her. He knelt down and tried to stop the bleeding. I fired at him and missed. He yelled out in guttural rage and fired his M16. He caught me with 2 shots in the gut and the chest. I hit the ground and choked up blood. He walked over to me casually, stuck his gun in my face, then a bullet rang out and nailed him in the back of the head. He dropped like an Irish sack of potatoes. Jimmy Boy had snuck up behind him and pulled the trigger. He sat down on the pavement next to me and held my hand. I touched the side of his face and smiled. I'm proud of you, kiddo. choked back tears. I'm sorry it had to be this way, Dad. I got choked up. I'm happy you didn't call me Bio Dad. We shared a smile. Promise me you'll leave with your mom and go and become an accountant or do some other boring job, will you? He smiled. You got it. I love you, kid. Then I heard a car slam on its brakes, and Lou got out, aiming his gun at Jimmy Boy. Don't do it, Lou. Please. Lou was trembling. No one takes out my little brother and gets away with it. He started to pull the trigger at my boy. I sat up with the few ounces of strength I had left and put my very last bullet in his head. I laid back, looked up at the sky, and pictured myself sitting at my son's wedding. Shortly thereafter, Lucy and Kyler pulled up in a car, and Jimmy Boy kissed my forehead. Love you too, Dad. As the police sirens were getting closer, I barely spoke. Go, go. He took one last look at me with tears in his eyes, got into the car, and drove away. I barely managed to wave goodbye as they went, and then it was like someone flipped off a switch and turned out the lights.
Kids, one year they won all dinosaur stuff. The next, campus. Dollars, mom. So it seems like Chuck Festival of Canada. Really good. Did you know about one of the people with psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis? With fewer symptoms from moderate.
I was walking the second period when I saw the cheerleading